Hello?
Hey, Doc, what's going on, brother?
Not much, man. I'm just hanging out.
I did a video on Gotti line in the beginning, back when I first started my channel. And I mentioned you and your brother, rest in peace, by the way. Talked a little bit about the Greyline, but as far as articles that are out there, I couldn't really find much on the history. So I appreciate you getting on the phone with me.
No problem.
Why don't we start from the beginning? When did you get into dogs, specifically pit bulls?
I got into pit bulls when I was in the 6th grade, growing up in Compton. Yeah, one of my big homies, his name is Ding, D-I-N-G. And he was an OG in the hood, man, and he was a good brother, man. He was like a big brother to me that I never had. And I happened to go over his house to his younger brother, Philip. Mm. And went in the backyard. Actually, no, we was playing basketball in the driveway. I looked over the fence. And I'm like, whoa, what kind of dog is that? And Philip told me that my brother Dean breeds these pit bulls. They're pit bulls. I'm like, oh, okay. And Dean knew that I like those dogs, man. And I was just a young kid, man. So he's like, he blessed me with 2 of the puppies, 2 females. He gave them to me, man. And that's how I got into pit bulls.
Where did you?
There was no papers, though.
Right. Yeah. We've all been there, right? That's always the start. Where'd you come up with the name Greyline?
Actually, I didn't come up with that name. Tony Moore, my brother, did.
Okay.
He came up with that name because it's like I was in Japan when he got gray pits, well, a.k.a. blue pits.
Right.
And he's like, hey, man, I got some pits. He sent me pictures. The first dog, Raider 1. Uh-huh. I saw that dog. I can't find the pictures to save my life of that dog, but he was an unregistered blue pit. And Tony's like, yeah, man, I got blue pits. Well, they're gray, but they're known as blue. I'm like, oh, okay. And he sent me pictures of the dog, and I was getting ready to transfer from duty stations when I was stationed in Japan. I was getting ready to go from southern Japan to northern Japan, but I took some leave and I came home to L.A. and Tony, I got my 2 Greyline dogs from Tony, and he's like, these dogs are going to be known as Greyline dogs. And I was like, all right, so what makes you call them Greyline? He said, well, we used to ride the Greyhound bus. You got a Greyhound on it, so I'm going to call my dogs Greyline. I'm like, okay, I can dig it.
Right.
And that's how we began. And a lot of people don't know that Oliver Dela Cruz, I don't know if you are you familiar with Oliver Dela Cruz?
I had a Gotti dog once who had that way back in the pedigree.
Yeah, Dela Cruz, Oliver, Filipino cat. Mm-hmm. Oliver and Tony hooked up. They did the first breeding of Greyline dogs. So, Greyline dogs was first bred with Tony and Oliver Dela Cruz. And then Tony linked up with our classmate, Mr. Warren Westbrook, his wife, Candace. She's our homegirl from our same neighborhood. And Tony did a breeding with Camacho and Warren allowed it to happen. And that's what took the Greyline dog to another notch higher with the big heads, because everybody know that Camacho had a big head. And a lot of people, well, some people know, not everybody, but they always bring up Raider 2's father. And there's controversy because there was no DNA back in the day. Showtime was bred to Camacho first, and then she got out of her kennel, climbed out, and then Barney got her. And so, keep it in mind, there was no DNA, no way to get no DNA. Mm-hmm. And that right there is kind of like a black mark. But can't go back and change the hands of time.
What branch of the military were you in? The Navy?
Yes, the world's finest Navy, United States Navy. Yes,
There
sir.
it is. There it is. US of A, baby. So now as far as the classic, the OG American Bully, I've always been a fan of the Gotti line. And when I did the research to do the video on Gotti line, he was line bred, correct? He was bred, it was a father-daughter breeding, if I'm not mistaken.
You talking about Ron Gotti?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was Callie Love. What was her name?
Yeah, Callie Love. Callie Love is his mother, Ron Gotti's mother, and Raider. So it's Callie bred back to her son that produced Ron Gotti.
Okay.
And that's inbreeding.
I gotcha. Now, let me ask you this. You said Raider 1, so Raider 2 was Gotti's father, correct? That's a whole different dog then?
A whole different dog. Raider 1 was just a dog with no paper. He happened to be blue.
Okay. And then Raider 2 was the one in the
Greyline at all. Tony just named the second dog Raider. That Patsy had paper.
What was your opinion on the difference between the UKC American Pitbull Terrier and the ADBA American Pitbull Terrier?
So the difference between the UKC American Pitbull Terrier and the ADBA?
Mm-hmm.
A good question. I like that, and I can tell you exactly the difference because I have the pedigree of the original Greyline litter, the first litter that was born, and I have ADBA and I have UKC. The difference is the ADBA is more of the fighting game stock.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get all your fighting game stock from the ADBA.
Mm-hmm.
UKC, they honored and registered dogs that were ADBA registered, even though UKC weren't keeping it to the standards of the game bred dogs. I hope I made that clear. I hope that makes sense.
Would you agree that the UKC American Pitbull Terrier is more like the Amstaff than the American Pitbull Terrier in the
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Amstaff. In fact, I have my ADBA paperwork, and it has my original Greyline dog, my first puppy. It has an asterisk by the name of every dog that's of Amstaff heritage.
Okay.
Okay? So, UKC, back in the day, the Amstaff and American Pitbull, there was kind of like really no real distinction.
Mm-hmm.
But they split. A lot of people don't understand. They split. Little Tommy didn't want to play with Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
So they divided. And then they took them to two different directions. They said, well, we're going to keep ours. One said, we're going to keep ours of all the original, we know they're fighting dogs, stock, to show. Because you can go back and look at Kobe. Greyline dogs, they got Kobe, Sorrell, Hemphill, Wilder.
Mm-hmm.
They got the fighting stock in them, but when they were breeding the dogs and they said, oh, this is going to be Amstaffs now, they were bred a little bit bigger. And that's how they branched off. But they used to be the same dog, but how the dogs was bred. They bred, UKC bred a lot of the fighting characteristics out of the dog. And then ADBA is like, no, we're not breeding nothing out of them as far as what they were bred to do. And so that's how you have your difference. But I'm glad that I have an actual pedigree for my dog, Blue Dallas. From the first litter of Greyline dogs, I have this pedigree. I never shredded it because I wanted to have a living proof, a document that shows the Amstaffs with the asterisk in the ADBA pedigree.
Okay. That's actually huge, and I'm sure the listeners will really appreciate that. I mean, I feel like we're getting now to the point where it's technically almost three different dogs. What I did notice in the UKC American Pitbull Terrier was the only real difference back in the day that I saw personally was the black nose restriction. Like, the AKCM staff had to have a black nose and black eyeliner and that dark pigment and features, whereas the
AKC?
Yeah, the AKC, yeah, for the M staff.
Yeah.
And then the UKC, the dogs looked almost identical after a while, but they had red noses, blue noses. A lot of them were coming out all these different colors. So yeah, I'm glad you covered that. Now, do you still breed dogs today?
I did a breeding back in February, but it didn't take. It was with a friend of mine's, 100% OG Greyline dog. But yeah, I still breed. I'm actually, February is my coming out, but the breeding didn't take, so I'm back to the drawing board, and I'm going to be back breeding dogs, but I'm not going to be breeding dogs every year. I haven't had a litter puppy since 2013. Yeah, I need to breed some more dogs because the Greyline bloodline is pretty much extinct as far as the purity of the dogs. And my problem now, and I'm not scared to admit it, because I don't want nobody to go through what I'm going through. I don't have female dogs in my yard under my possession, not nobody else's possession. Mine. I don't have full control of my bloodline anymore like I used to, because life deals you, different hands that are not very good. You adapt and overcome. And hopefully I have, I say hopefully, but I have a few people that I have contact with that actually have 100% Greyline bitches. And I'm trying to breed my dog to get me 2 females out of the litter so I can be able to have control in my yard again. And the reason I say control is not everybody's going to do like you do with your own dog. It's my bloodline, so I should be able to have control of what I want and when I want it. But
I got you.
I have a whole of monster straws. I got straws off my boy Why Not More Greyline Raider 3. That's his name. Why Not More Greyline Raider 3. His name Why Not. That's my brother Tony's name spelled backwards. That's why I named him that.
Oh, that's awesome. That is so cool. Let me ask you this. When you said monster, who are you referring to?
I'm referring to Richard Barajas is the one that Bred. Monster came off his litter with Ebony.
Okay, you are talking about Monster then.
Yep.
That dog was phenomenal.
And I have his blood right there in the outskirts of San Antonio, Texas.
Wow, that is amazing. That is truly amazing. So that brings me to my next question. Are you going back to the uniform Greyline structure when dogs were actually dogs, not just...
No, I've never left the era. I'm still here. I'm just trying to breed more of my Greyline dogs, the original dog. I don't want the Greyline with little watchdog and Raider. I have 100% Greyline dogs in my yard. I'm just lacking the females. I have a female, and she is not going to have puppies no time soon because she's old. So I have a few people that have females, Greyline dogs, 100%. I need them, and they need me.
I gotcha.
So I don't want to be put. This is a very tight situation to be put in. I've already had one guy show his ass with me. He's a control freak, and I'm like, okay, well, you want to be a control freak? Well, to deal with this clown, I'll let it go extinct before I deal with him.
I gotcha. That bad, huh?
Yeah, that bad, but it's okay because he thought he was the only one with a Greyline bitch. Now he's changing his tune, and he's going to miss his blessing because I wanted to breed my dog with his dog, take 2 females off of that breeding, breed one back to Why Not, and then one to Monster. So he found out that's what I wanted to do, and now he's trying to butter me up. And I told him I don't want your services. I don't need you. Cut him off. You got to cut people off sometime when they get big in it, man.
Yeah, man. So Greyline was established when exactly? What year?
1994.
1994.
The first litter dropped August 22nd, 1994. I have a picture of Blue Dallas in my living room wall.
Nice. Yep. Well, let me say it this way. I still prefer that hot dog, the one that guards the house, things like that. I remember. So that's your aim, is to produce that classic dog still, yeah?
If he can't protect the family, he ain't wanted here, bro.
Exactly. Okay.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. If you can come steal my whole litter, you can have them. First of all, I'm not feeding nothing that ain't going to protect. Feeding something that doesn't give a damn about you is kind of wrong. They bring nothing to the table, and I'm never going to change. I want a dog that is good with people, can go out, don't show his ass, knows how to act in public. And when he gets back home, it's like, hey, I'm guarding my property for my master. Mm-hmm. That's a dog.
Yes.
That's a dog.
Amen. I feel like way too many breeds and bloodlines have gone the opposite direction.
If I can steal your dog, bro, if I can steal your dog or write you a letter or call you on the phone and tell him I got him right here, man. He's drinking some milk and some cookies. You can come pick him up, or you want me to bring him back.
Right.
You'll never know if somebody stole a dog from me, because it probably ain't going to happen.
Right.
So I won't ever have to report, oh, my dog is stolen. I'll give you a reward, no questions asked. You came back there and took him, you can have him. He's yours. He or she is yours.
Right. Moving forward, is there anything you want to add to Greyline?
That I want to add to Greyline? Yeah. There is more Greyline, back to the original stock. Going way back to the original stock. That's what I want to add back. That way it's never watered down, and what you see is what you're going to get. You're going to get that same dog that has fire, that believes in protecting its owner, its property, and is faithful, loyal, and has a good temperament.
Good answer. What do you normally feed your dogs?
Man, I'm going to be real honest with you. I used to feed my dogs, man. I bounced around from back in the day when I was in the Navy. Exceed from Sam's Club.
Okay. Chicken
and Rice, right? That little yellow bag. The bag ain't changed. I went from that to Diamond. Was on Diamond for a long time until the aflatoxin scare. Back in 2000s, when it was killing dogs. The aflatoxin, that mold that was in the dog food that killed dogs.
Yeah.
And I went from Diamond to Victor, green and teal black bag. And then at Victor, I was on Victor for a while, and they put blood meal. I don't know if you're familiar with blood meal.
What is that?
Victor put blood meal in their dog food, and I didn't know nothing about it until I found out on the Facebook forum message. When I changed it, I went back to Exceed from Sam's Club. No corn, no wheat, no soy. And I feed my dogs a raw diet. I switch them up. I might go straight kibble with some chicken broth for a couple of weeks, and then I'll go ahead and go 100% raw, organ, beef heart, which is beef heart, liver, beef kidney, chicken gizzards, chicken heart with some bone. Some bone meal in there, some broccoli, different types of fruits added, and then I'll go ahead and do a 50-50. With that, then after that, I'll go take them straight back to regular dog food. I mix it up a little bit, but I lean more towards a natural diet overall.
I got you.
And, give them some variety. Mm-hmm. Some people may not agree with that, but I really don't give a damn. I do what works for me and what my dog's like.
Right.
Yeah, and it gives them a variety. People say, oh, they're content with eating the same thing over. How do you know? How do you know?
Right.
What's my question to people? How do you know? Do you like to eat the same thing over and over?
Yeah.
Because a wild wolf doesn't eat the same thing over and over. He eats whatever he can get, and it's going to be different, whether it's a raccoon, a squirrel, a duck, whatever.
Right.
So they can miss you with all that bullshit about, oh, They're content. No, they're not. Watch how their tails wag. When you put something that they's like, oh, wow, this is really new. And they tail will wag until it falls off.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I had my dogs on a raw diet for a while, and every time I switch up their food, they act like crackheads. As soon as I switch up their food, they're like, oh, this is new, this is wonderful, this is great, and they rush to it. They act like they're frantic about it.
I'll pass on my dogs, and I pass them on Sundays. And I've been doing this, man, since 1995. And I do it because, like, tomorrow is Sunday, Easter Sunday, and it's the first week of April. So their heartworm preventive medicine is due. And I give them their heartworm medicine tomorrow. They're not going to have no food on their stomach because I'm going to do it around 2 o'clock p.m. So they won't have nothing, no blockage. So it's going to go straight into their body. And I normally do the natural deworming on Sundays. Like every other Sunday. That's what I do. That's been my program. So I stick to that. But, to each his own. It just works for me, especially in weight control and also being able to see what's actually inside the intestine of their gut. It'll come out on Monday morning.
When you fast the dog, what are the benefits for that?
You're actually being able to clean the gut out. The immune system is all within the gut. Not many people know that. That's our immune system is our stomach. It's our gut.
Right.
When you have a clean intestine, clean gut, your immune system stays healthy. A lot of people don't know that. That's the immune system of anybody, us. The gut. You're using herbs that cleanse, just like beef tripe. Very good organ meat for dogs. Can grind it up. Green beef tripe is the best. Build up the dog's immune system naturally without even using a lot of different vitamins. Of course, I'm a herbal type of dude, so I believe in the herbal.
Let me ask you this. What about puppies or mothers who are pregnant or just gave birth?
Nope. I don't fasten them.
Okay, you feed them 7 days
a week. They
week.
need to eat every day. When a dog gets 1 year old in my yard, I fasten them.
Okay.
His immune system should be where I want it to be.
I'm
not going to rob him of eating because that's like I'll use a human example. You got your son plays basketball from this age to this age, and then all of a sudden you fasten him. He ain't going to be able to go out and play basketball or sports. He needs to energy.
I gotcha.
We grow into it, you know what I mean? I was just going to say, I could be totally wrong. Somebody might know something more than me, but I just do what works for me, man. That's just being honest.
I think your word is worth value. So I'll take your word.
Thank you, but I learn every day, man. I really do. I don't know everything.
What made you move to Texas?
I'm originally from Texas. My whole family. We moved to Los Angeles. That's a good question you asked me. Some people are like confused. They're like, you live in Texas? Yeah, but they don't understand when I break it down, and I break it down for you because you asked me the question. 1968, we moved from Midland, Texas to Los Angeles, California. I was 4 years old. I remember the first man landing on the moon. I remember Martin Luther King getting assassinated, German shepherds being sicked on black people with water hoses. I remember all of that when I went to California. And the reason we moved to California is my dad, we have family that moved from Texas. We migrated from Texas, our hometown, our roots, to California because it was more liberal, and African-American people would have a better life there than living in the South, in Texas. And so I have the best of both worlds. I grew up on the streets of Compton, but my mom, she sent us back to Texas when we were little, free babysitting, all the grandparents, right? Aunties and uncles. She was smart. She sent us back to Texas so we could get keep our, what do you call it? How can I say it?
Your roots.
Keep our roots in our hearts and learn how to pick peas, garden, live off the land. So it was a teaching for us growing up in LA. And so we had a versatile life, me and my sibling. And people say, oh, he's from Compton, this and that. I'm originally from Midland, Texas, and I'm not ashamed of it. My roots are so deep in Texas, I prefer Texas over California because that's who I am. You can take me out of the country, but you can't take the country out of me. And I've always been raised like I've been fortunate enough to have grandma, grandpa, uncles, and aunties all live in Texas, equally balanced. A lot of family members from Texas moved to Los Angeles, so we were equally balanced. But, everybody thinks I'm from California originally. I wasn't born in California. I don't think like a Californian. I'm Texas. I'm a Texan. I think, and I'm bred in Texas, bro. Mm-hmm. My way of thinking is totally different from a person from California. And if my mother would have never done that, balanced us out being a single mom, I wouldn't have the balance that I have. I love Southern California. I love California to visit everything. But when I got to the age, I joined the Navy, and I was stationed in San Diego, stationed in Japan. I'm like, they wanted to put me, my last tour of duty in California, and I told them no. I want to be in Texas. That's where I was born at. And I'm from Texas, man. I'm a Texan. Yep.
I hear nothing but good things about Texas.
Man, I appreciate you saying that because I try to tell people our way of thinking here is different. We're the only state in the United States that can separate. We can separate against all the United States and become our own country. And I tell people, when you talk about gun control, these are sensitive issues. People die every day, but we don't. We live and breathe that amendment, man, to right to bear arms. And if you're gonna ever try to take guns away from the whole United States, we'll be there to defend the nation. Texas will be there.
Amen.
We don't play around, bro. We don't play around.
So what do you think as far as today in the American bully world, what happened?
They wanted to take it to another level, which is what the devil does. He takes it to another level.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Let's make them shorter. Okay, you got them shorter. That wasn't good enough. You take the bulldog, pit bull, breed with the Boston Terrier, whatever. And it got shorter. Head got a little bigger. Eyes got nasty. Muzzle got nasty and sloppy. And people were like, oh, I like that. You like that? He can't hardly breathe. He's not a dog. He's your freaking toy now. You take him and you stack him like you got a Joe action figure. Mm-hmm. You take the legs spread like this, put the back leg like this, and you got a board designed to make them be programmed. And those dogs are not functional. They can't function. The brain says, okay, back leg. Okay, the other back leg, go here. Front leg, go here. Toes go outwards a little bit, and they're programmed. That's where they got away from. They got away from having a real dog. The dog can't even live. He's a model. He's like Mr. Potato Head back in my day. Mm-hmm. A fucking Mr. Potato Head. That's what you got. They're toys, man. They can't even survive in 75-degree temperatures.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like that.
Exactly.
Man.
Yeah, for sure.
We did that. Man did that. Created that.
Man, I think we should have left it alone. We should have left it right there.
We don't know how to because money becomes the root of all evil.
Yes, sir.
Oh, they like it over there. Oh, they like it on the East Coast. Oh, we're on the West Coast, man. We got to top that. We're going to take some Frenchie mixed with some Boston Terrier and some Bull Terrier, and we're going to get all this bull crap. He's bragging about, $20,000 a dog. You pay anything beyond... So I can't really say this. I'm not going to pay you no more. The most I would actually pay for a dog, honestly, is maybe $2,500 for a good-looking dog that meets my standards. And that's all I'm going to pay you. I'm not going to pay you no crazy stuff above that because the dog can't cook, can't clean about himself, can't come use the restroom and flush the toilet. and it dies within 5 years. I work hard for my money. I don't have time for that kind of bull crap. People was like, he's had those straws for years, but he's not doing nothing with it. And that really bothers him. But, it's like when Michael Jackson bought the rights to the Beatles, he didn't do anything with it for a while,
Yeah.
But I don't have to please everybody. That's the way I think about it. It's something very valuable and I treasure it, so I'm waiting for the right, I'm waiting for the right time to do it.
Right. Yeah.
And people are going to be able to appreciate seeing that kind of dog around again.
Yeah, to say the least. We need the original, we need the OG American Bully back. Wasn't quite Pitbull, wasn't quite Amstaff, it was just the next step after that. We need that back.
Yeah, I agree.
It's gotten out of control. So, in your experience, was it strictly Pitbull or Amstaff in those lines, or do you think there was some Mastiff in there somewhere?
I already know it was Mastiff in that shit.
And Greyline included?
No, not our Greyline. When Tony bred dogs, the Greyline dogs, when he bred, I'm going to say that, first litter, some of those dogs went to people. I'm not going to say their name, but they know who they are. They took those dogs and bred them into Mastiffs. Neopositive. I saw it with my own eyes.
I mean, obviously, there was some Mastiff thrown in there somewhere. But honestly, a lot of people might get mad that happened. I didn't. I thought that was great. If you're creating a new breed, right, and the American Bully is a new breed, and you're tossing Pitbull to Amstaff, you're basically tossing Pitbull to Pitbull. That's not really a new breed. So I understand why Mastiff got thrown in there. I'm not mad at that. That's why I'm more of a band dog lover today. So what do you think needs to change in the bully world as far as where they're at today?
You need to breed them more for health. Instead of bringing them down real low to the ground where they can't breathe. Respiratory problems, bring them up. Put some clean, genetically sound dogs in the blood again. Get all the pugs, Boston Terrier, English Bulldog, Frenchie. Fucking it all with dogs with different types of diseases and problems.
Well, that was pretty much all the questions I have. But is there anything you wanted to add?
I don't have anything right now.
All right. I really appreciate you coming on. And if I come up with any more questions, perhaps you'd be down for doing a part 2.
All right. Sounds good.
But definitely keep me posted on what you're doing, because it makes me really hopeful for the bully community as far as you going back to the OG roots of the American Bully and bringing that working type, guarding type dog back. I think a certain avenue of the bully world needs that right now. So
all right.
I'm definitely hopeful, man, and we will talk very soon. I appreciate it, my brother.
All right. Thanks a lot for having me.
All right, brother. Talk soon.
Bye-bye.